Hey, everybody, going live again. John Gums, Dakota Grappler Live, coming to you on your Wednesday evening. Man, the season's going fast. I got a great guest with me. He's been on several times, Scott Andal. You know, he's been, I don't know, you could say a perennial person on. He's been at least once or twice every year. Always like to hear what's happening. He's got the inside route of anything happening in Class B in South Dakota. And I enjoy a lot of stories that he has to tell. And he's a hard-working guy and loves the sport just like I do. So how you doing, Scott?
Good. Just getting ready to, finish up. We got conference this week, so
Yeah. So how many duels? You have any duels left and anything like that?
we have our MCM round robin duels next Friday. We start at 1:00 on the 11th. Got 8 teams coming in. Pick up
Okay.
3 to 4 duels each team will get. So
How's it
that'll
looking?
wrap up that.
How's it looking? PowerPoints for you to maybe get a chance
We're
in.
on the outside looking in right now. We probably need a little help. We kind of pride ourselves in have a tough schedule, and we took some losses this year. We got a good team, but last year we got lucky. We nipped West Sioux, and they got us this year. And we went out to Phillip. We got pretty much swept. I mean, Lee Deadwood couldn't make it, so we had to pick up that forfeit. But other than that, Phillip and we were without 3 starters, and Phillip and Custer and Sturgis took it to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess you could be a spectator for that too.
Yeah, it might be. We're hoping. I mean, we have our chances yet, so we'll if we get a little help with some teams that are up near the top, and we get top 10. There's a couple teams are ahead of us right now that we can leapfrog because we beat them. So.
Okay. Now, is there a place online that other people like myself can find those PowerPoints?
Yeah, the South Dakota Activity Association.
It is on there, right in the wrestling area?
Yep. You just, that sdhsaa.com. Scroll down, and under the wrestling, they'll have like standings. So
okay,
standings.
I have not looked at that. Might have to update my brain cells with that information tonight.
Yeah, it will. Trust me. I've been burning my brain up the last week. We had a big duel last week. I knew if we didn't win, that I knew we would have been toast. But we got the win. So.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because Century, the team that I guess my son wrestles for, is 21-6 on the year. They got 27 duels in.
Yeah, wow. We're 13-5. We'll probably do 4 next week. So we'll be right at that 22 mark for us.
Well, good deal. So let's round about your team. Who's looking good? Let's just get right to your team stuff first, and then I got lots of stuff we could talk about.
Yeah, we're at 106. We have Landon Flogstad. He's a little 95-pound freshman. Finally made enough weight, but he's doing all right. He's picked up place for us sometimes. He's what the heck? I pulled it up just so I have everybody's stuff here, but he's 26 and 21 right now, and he's I don't know. He's on the outside looking in, trying to get to the state meet. And behind him, man, it's been a wrestle off all year. I had to bring an extra coach in. The watch wrestle offs helped me ref because him and the 7th grader won 2-point matches all year. So, but we're gonna let the 7th grader. We're gonna let him go up to the state middle school next weekend and have his shot. So.
Okay.
113. We got Tristan Trouple. Last year he got 7th at 106, and he's looking to have a better state tournament this year. He's probably setting 4 or 5 right now. We're hoping to move up. We'll see. But I look for him to be near the top of the podium. And 120, I got an 8th grader, Owen Schmidt. He's above 500. He's another kid that's at that 21 and probably 18 or whatever. And hardworking kid. He's wrestling battles. We all know we have them. And losing kids and stuff. And he was on the fence this year as an 8th grader about basketball and wrestling again. And he went through with wrestling, and now he's all in. He told me today, he goes, I love this stuff. So, but he has, like I said, he has same thing, kind of like our 6-pounder, probably the 5th, 6th seed in our region. So he has to pull that one big match off to get it to the state. 126, we got a new kid. He's won 4 or 5 matches. Elliot Bartlett. He wrestled youth, did basketball, and now as a freshman decided to come back to wrestling. So work in progress, but helps us out this year. We're looking for more things out of him next year. 132, we have Dylan McGregor. He's been out the last few weeks. He is banged up. He's injured, and we think we're positive. We're not 100% positive, but we're hoping he can make it back. We'll get a little more answer here in the next couple of days. He's got one more doctor appointment, and but otherwise he was in state last year as an 8th grader, and he's setting good. If he can come back, he'll qualify and easily, or not easily, but he'll qualify. And if he can get there, then I think he'll definitely be on the podium. 38, we've been open all year. It's just funny in the middle of all those weight classes. We can't scrap up a kid. Got a bunch below, got a bunch above, but nobody could come down and nobody could was big enough to jump in there and fill in. So then 40 and 45, we have Jackson Remmers. He's 36-3 on the year. He's he's a state champ last year as a freshman. He's a sophomore now, but he's in Kaiser's weight class. We've wrestled Kaiser once, and he took it to us. I was impressed with him. We asked if he wanted to drop because last year he did that. He got beat at 38 pretty bad, dropped to 32, and it turned out good, and he was a state champ. But he'd already come down from like 168, 165, 168. Yeah. So he said, no, that's good enough. And I told him, I said, somebody's got to slay the dragon. It just supposed to be us. So we'll see what happens when the dust settles. But other than that, he has won close matches this year, but he has beat all the other 45-pounders in our state. So 152 is his brother, Weston. He's been in and out of our lineup all year. Some injuries and just different stuff. We've been working with him. And he got seventh last year as an 8th grader at 26. This weight jump is that's the biggest thing. He's just trying to adjust to it. I feel he'll get to state and get it. He'll be on the podium. Just got to get him back on the mat because he's out right now with the injury. 160, we have Carter Randall, hardworking kid, state qualifier 7th grade, state qualifier 8, state 9th grade. He has just never scratched the podium. And he's in a tough 160-pound weight class. But he got a big, secure win last week over the Sheets kid from Sioux Valley. And I think he's setting himself up well. And he's a hard worker. I look for him to definitely be on the state podium. 170, we got Mason Paltz. He missed last year with a hand injury, kind of reactivated it right over Christmas. And we got him back on the mat a couple weeks ago, and he's starting to look good. I'm hoping we can get him to the state meet. He's a junior, put a lot of years in our program. And, we're looking for big things out of him. 182, Will Roders he had filled in at 70 so good while Paltz was out. But he went up and he beat the other 82-pounder out. So he's injured right now. So our backup, Logan Rapp, was pretty much, it's kind of weird. I call him a backup, but he's been in our lineup all year somewhere. And, he's just a little bit under 500. He's a freshman, and he's doing real good for us. He's going to have to come through this weekend for the conference tournament for us. 195, Cade Grocott. He's been out for about a week with an injury, but he'll be back, and he looks really good. He looked really good before the injury. And he's never been on the podium. He's only a sophomore, but we look for him to place at 95. 220, Austin Hoyton, state qualifier last year. I look for him, same thing. He'll scratch in there. He's going to find himself on the podium. And our heavyweight, Elliot Chase, was one of those kids. He was hot early, got cold, and last weekend he's starting to wake up. And he's a senior, never been to state, and I'm confident we'll help him. We'll get him through it, and get him to the state meets. That's pretty much our varsity lineup. A lot of junior high guys, a lot of junior high kids. And I told them this year, whether we're on the bubble, like we mentioned earlier, on the state duels. And I said, you know what? I got enough freshmen, sophomores, JV kids. I said, all you junior high guys that are not varsity, we're going to Pierre next weekend. We're going to go to the state middle school and give you guys a chance. I kept a few out the last couple of years, and I felt bad when the dust settled at the state dual tournament that some I used, some I didn't. So, but we're a young team, 1 senior, 2 juniors. The rest are sophomores and under.
Yeah, I was noticing that when you were going through them. I was going to ask. I think it sounded to me like there was only 1 senior, the heavyweight, and yeah, a lot of young guys in there. So it sounds like a great thing for the program as the years go by, right? If we keep all those guys, you got a few basketball players come back, so that's helpful.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Yeah, it looks good for us. Just we've had some success. Jon, you know what? We've had some success. So this year we were expecting a lot of things, and it's been, I won't lie, a little bit of a down year right now. But all I always tell the kids the big pie is coming here in a couple of weeks.
But here's always
finish hard.
Kudos to your program, though. You always search out good competition.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing I told my kids. I was just talking to my coaches tonight. You sit there and you pencil everything out, and you're like, and the one coach is like, well, God, if this team wins or that team wins, and I said, we just got to face facts. We're just gonna have to see where the dust settles. If we don't make it this year, we don't make it. But one thing I won't worry about is my individual kids. We've seen the cream of the crop. There's no ifs and ands, buts about it.
So who's in your conference? Go through that again because you had a conference this week.
Well, we have we started earlier in the season in December, and we did some duels, and we'll have like Elk Point Jefferson is a GIST team, but then we have like Flandreau, Sioux Valley, Howard, Parker, Garrettson, Mount Vernon Plankinton is another team we invite in, Beersford, Alcester, Hudson, and then we join. It's called the Big East. That's our conference that we belong to on all sports. But in wrestling, we join with the LCC. So you toss in Kingsbury County, Dual, Hamlin, teams from up north. I think it's like 13 teams this weekend. So it's kind of nice. It's a good mix and fair amount of teams that are in our region also. So it helps with some late seeding, that kind of thing.
Okay. Awesome. Bill, I didn't say hi to you. Was you come in?
Yeah.
I survived my surgery.
Oh, that's good news. I was glad to see you there.
I've almost got like a high collar here, but it's like if I took my shirt down, it looks like somebody cut my throat like right here. Because that's where they went in through the front to take the disc out.
Oh man.
And so it's like my throat hurts and my chest now, because of course they dig back in there and whatever they all do. I told them to put it on video and I'd show it online. But
I don't need to see it.
But that's okay, I guess. They said that's not today. They thought it was pretty funny, and then I was out because they were putting me under at the time. Said, "Could you film this for me?" Oh, I'm sleeping.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I woke up and my wife goes, "Are you ready to go?" And I go, "I'm still all droggy." And I said, "There's no wrestling today." so I was dreaming this about wrestling while this thing was going on. So
that's funny.
Oh yeah. Well, you missed it, Scott. Last weekend we had Dan Gable on.
I heard that. I kind of had to watch a repeat of that. The legend like that.
What's interesting is he had a stack of people that he knew from North and South Dakota. He did his research. He came prepared, and he actually behind the scenes was telling us more names that we didn't even get to. I would have kept him on forever, but I don't want to how can you say it? Break the ties where I've talked to him since. He texted me and said, "Hey, that was so much fun. We'll do it again." And I'm going,
great.
And I'm going, man. Oh, I just get goosebumps about it.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun.
But it's one of those, my wife was a Pat Summitt fan, for basketball, women's basketball, Tennessee Vols. And I told her, "What would you do to have that chance?" She goes, "I would never thought of asking or doing anything like that." And I said, "Well, I'm way different than you." But when you kind of idolize somebody, you go into the situation in awe. And I tried not to be in awe the whole thing, but we could just listen. That first 25 minutes goes by, and we just said, "Only talk about Lincoln McElravy." That was what. And I'm going, "Oh my, I got to start stepping this up and getting some more people on here."
Yeah.
But that was fun.
No, so it's one for the bucket list, definitely. So now, as your season goes here, do you have any girls that are wrestling?
No, we had Alexis Bryant last year. and just a family situation that she was in. Her sister, they live in Humboldt. They were here. They moved to Humboldt, and her sister was a senior, so she had a ride. She was a 7th grader last year, and this year she's back in West Central. She's wrestling for them.
Oh.
She's had a good season going. Stays in touch with me. I appreciate her. I mean, she every day always thanking us coaches for getting her out last year, pushing her, and all that. So I'm kind of excited because we don't see West Central, and so when we get to the state tournament, we'll definitely be watching her. So
well, that's good. Definitely. I'll tell you what, our girls programs, North Dakota has skyrocketed. Like we have, we had about 4 times the number we had from the previous year, but I'm not sure how many of those have finished, are finishing out this year. So it's going to be kind of big. Tomorrow night we have a duel where it's Bismarck versus Bismarck Century. So we go against the Demons, and the girls are going. They're going to have a duel between Bismarck and Bismarck Century.
Oh, so that's good
too. So always having more things to try to promote. Bill and I mentioned it earlier too, but off the line, but Bill and I got the thumbs up to do the NAI Girls National again.
Women's, yep.
Women's National. I say girls, women's National. And then we're also doing he does the Class B, and I'm going to get to do the Class A during the state wrestling tournament. So it made me smile that day because I think we get the Monday or Tuesday, whatever day I was still recovering.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Right after I had surgery, I had a smile on my face.
There you go.
Yep. That was good.
Yeah. So tell me right now, who is some of the toughest people? Now you can give me a roundup of, some of the teams around you in your region, and then also in the state that you've seen this year. Who's looking really good in South Dakota?
Well, one team in our region that's kind of surprising me coming on here at the end is Tri-Valley. They got a lot of young kids. Team-wise, yeah, they're not going to make the noise this year, but in the future, they'll be good. You always got Canton there in our region. We see him early, but we haven't seen him since the Mid-Dakota Monsters. So we'll see what happens. We'll see him next week. They come in here to our gym next weekend, so next Friday. And Parker's been doing good. As far as our region, they're good. I guess seeing across the state, Kimball White Lake Platte Geddes, man, they got a good dual team. They beat Winter and Phillip that weekend and stuff. And we wrestled in the Tuesday night before and lost to them by 4. And we had a couple of matches could have went either way. So that's why, back to, you asked earlier, we go see the competition, and we'll see what happens if we make the state duels or not. But it's kind of sad when the number 1 team, we lost 2 by 4, and we might be outside looking in because, but that's the way it goes. Other ones, Winter. I don't know. In an individual tournament, when I see them, I'm like, they're the real deal. If somebody's going to knock Canton out, that's the team. That'll be the team. Okay, I can see Kimball White Lake taking the duels this year if they want it, and I could see Winter taking the individual. Now, of course, I'm like everybody else. I'm not stupid. Canton will probably show up, and they might win both of them again. But the challenge is out there this year.
Yes, the gauntlet was dropped right there.
Exactly. Yes. Another good individual team and could be dual if they get everybody healthy and on the mat. Like, of course, when we dueled them, they had everybody. Phillip area looks really good. Yep, I think they can do some damage. I think that'll be the, surprise some people when we get to state. We dueled them last week. Mount Vernon Plank in Corsica Stickney. That big co-op is really coming on. I've been impressed with their program. How Coach Gippert is bringing those kids along. So they got a lot of seniors. So
who is Phillip's head coach now?
Good. Phillip is Luke Weber.
Yep. I do remember now. Okay, yes, I did get that because I was trying to last minute. I had to contact somebody down there, and I remember now Luke Weber. I didn't put that in my tank to remember. Definitely. No, and how about facilities wise for the state going back to Sioux Falls?
Going back to Sioux Falls, Big Denny. I don't know. It's a nice place, a nice venue. I just hope, I cross my fingers, and I guess if they're watching, I'm sorry for offending you, but I hope we get treated a little better. It's like I feel like the Nazis or it feels like, well, I'm in the military. I feel like I have a drill sergeant on me every minute I move in that place. So down on the floor, that is.
Right.
But it is a nice facility. I'm looking forward to, but we got to wait a couple of years from now to go out to Rapid City, to their new facility. That's what I'm looking forward to as a coach,
Right.
As an old coach too. I don't know. Hopefully I can hold on. We'll see. But.
Yeah. How much time do you wrestle tonight in practice?
Oh, tonight it's church night. We're done. By the time we get the Montrose over here, probably hour 40.
Okay.
That's a long Wednesday night practice for us. We missed out on some stuff last night, so we had to make it up. So.
Okay. When do you start tapering a little bit? Basically slowing picking your pace up, but making your practice.
We pick the pace up and go all live here now. This is conference week. So yeah, the technique, all that's gone away. I say it's gone away, and then something comes through my old man head. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, we got to show that.
It always happens after a tournament. You see something you're messing up on. You got to fix the mistakes too.
Yeah, it's tough to watch them wrestle live. All of them wrestle live, and not trying to find something you can, try to improve on. And if you're watching 20 groups go live and 8 of them are doing the same thing wrong, you got to
that's
jump
pretty
in.
much Then I jump in.
Yeah, I've been there.
Definitely. So how about this? I saw your daughter's doing rodeo. Get off this just a little bit.
Oh,
from wrestling.
Yeah.
Tell us what what she likes to do.
Oh, she's she wrestled till this year.
Yep.
She had good success. But she's her mom's a basketball coach, so her basketball coach at 5th grade. That's what she does. And yeah, she's a big rodeo. Yep, big rodeo. She likes roping and
goat tying and barrel racing.
Goat tying, yep, all of it. So
a little breakaway.
Yep, little breakaway. Yep. Speaking of breakaway, I got to get her tucked in here quick, and I'll be right back.
Sure, that's fine.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you two jab for a little bit.
We definitely will.
We can do it.
Okay, Bill. I tell you what. Do you have a chance to watch the Iowa duel with, Penn State?
I did. I actually. I will not say where I was at when I watched it, but I did watch it. Watched the whole thing. Didn't have any idea what happened before. I wasn't able to watch it exactly live, but I didn't watch it too far after. I was at the Northern State duel. Right. But yeah, it was exciting. It's always tough at these dual mates because you don't know, right? You see a final score and you go, wow, they kind of ran away with it, or this one, however it shows at the end. But there's a lot of toss-up matches. It did apparently, obviously, Penn State won all the toss-up matches.
All but one.
Oh, maybe. Well, yeah, and I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I was picking Kirk, but the last time they wrestled, Cassiope beat him 9-0, but I didn't have that. I would have thought Kirk was going to win that one, but by that time the duel's in hand anyway. So
I thought the Iowa treated their wrestlers good. Standing ovation at the end, even though they lost. I thought that it was a good duel.
Except for someone threw a water bottle at one of the Penn State wrestlers.
Oh, I did. I missed that. I didn't read that flow to come on the floor or something.
No, somewhere else, but yeah.
Oh,
yep. Yeah, there was talk that it was a beer, but I think it was just a water bottle. But
okay. Yeah.
Well, obviously
they're getting like the pros now.
Yeah, they're intense.
I'm a Cowboys fan, and I was disgusted with that.
Let's talk about the Martin match
game.
Which match?
The Dean match.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about that because I thought that Iowa looked phenomenal against Dean. He looked really good to the last 40 seconds, of course, where he gets bow and arrowed. Well,
I thought, Max Dean, this is not, we kind of saw the same thing against Brucky from Michigan. He got taken out. He got behind, and but third period definitely belonged to Max Dean, right? I mean, he goes down, did you get a takedown or escape and a takedown, or did you get a reversal? Maybe I think it was reversal. And then he bow and arrows him, puts him to his back, and for 4. I mean, that's it's over. But so he's tough, and I think it was kind of funny. I don't know if you watched press conferences from either coach. I watched them for both, and neither coach was happy with the way their wrestlers performed on the way it came out, and I think you can kind of see this both ways, right? I think Iowa, there's a lot of good to take from it. But the one thing I would say on the Penn State side is they will never wrestle Iowa in a more adverse conditions, right? They go, across state after wrestling all away matches the week before in the most brutal, hostile environment in the country. Next time they're going to wrestle them, and I think the best chance for Iowa to beat Penn State is in a dual format. It's not in a tournament format because I think they're going to have more champs or more finalists, whether they win or not, So I could see how both teams could kind of come away with it with some positivity and maybe, some negativity too, because I thought there was some, I thought Penn State at a couple spots looked like they got a little more tired than they normally would. And, maybe they train through it,
Yep.
It's just Iowa.
How about RBY and DeSanto?
I think that's how that match is always going to look. I don't think DeSanto can finish.
Okay.
And RBY is not going to take a ton of shots against DeSanto. I mean, and really, he didn't have a lot of time to take shots because DeSanto kept coming at him and kept shooting. But after the first period, there was one good attempt. It was the very first shot, right, where he doubled off and still get the takedown. If you can't get a takedown once you're doubled off, I'm not sure how you ever score. But, Dan Gable said it right here, right? If he doesn't figure out how to finish from the other side, I don't know how he ever beats him. So I think that, but I do think that that's the way that match is just always going to go. I mean, I think DeSanto's always going to be coming forward. He's going to shoot a lot. RBY took one shot, scored, and
that's it.
And that's the ball game. If if DeSanto can't score there, so could they have called RBY for stalling again? Probably, but I think I think if you call him again, then he starts coming forward a little bit more and maybe gets another takedown. But I think that's going to kind of be how that. I don't think you're going to wear RBY out. I think he's going to. In the long run, I think that match kind of ends that way. I think it's always close. It doesn't look winnable to me for DeSanto. That doesn't mean it can't happen by any means. Right. But I think, like you say, DeSanto against RBY, DeSanto against Dayton Fix from Oklahoma State. I think it's the same story. I think they're always going to be close, and I think the same guy always comes out on top.
Right. How about Lee and Ironman then? I think that's a typical match you're going to get from those two also.
Yeah. They I thought Lee looked really, really good. He kind of gave up a weird, easy takedown at the end of regulation, which seemed odd, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's pretty solid. He's really tough in every position, but he got a couple takedowns, so he did not have to go on bottom, which of course is Ironman's best position. So, Ironman hasn't looked great this year. He looked probably as good in that match as he has in any match all year. I don't know if what does that mean, right? I don't know. Right. I mean, maybe he's going to be on fire for the Big Tens, but that was a big duel in general, but that was a big match for Big Ten seeding. Right, which is going to be kind of big because obviously Lee's going to be one, and Ironman's going to have to be somewhere on the bottom with probably Sebastian Rivera from Rutgers. So because Lee and Seabass never wrestled, so that'll be.
I think the place that can make a difference in nationals is 149 for both teams. 149, those guys they're going to be a barn burn just to get them on the stands. I think
right. I do. I think in both cases they're not going to be big point scorers or if they score at all. It'll be very interesting to see how that weight class shakes out. But I think you're right. I think in both cases, 49 and 57. I don't think Penn State's got a point scorer at 57. I don't think that's an issue at all. Caleb Young if you told me he took fourth, wouldn't surprise me. If you told me he didn't place, that wouldn't surprise me either. So, and I could see the same thing about 49. actually. I could see Penn State scoring some points at 49. He's awful good. He would be a better 41 pounder, but they got, Nick Lee there. So he matches up pretty good with some guys, so he can score some points. He can get takedowns and so.
And then at 65, Marinelli.
Marinelli looked really good. He looked like I was afraid I kind of saw that he may come off of a loss looking that way.
Right.
Looked scary, right? I mean, he didn't look like any fun. He's never looked like he'd be much fun to wrestle, but he was really, really tough and mean. And, I'm sure partway through that match, I'm sure Bergie was kind of wishing he was back in Brookings and wondering why he'd come out of coaching. Coaching's way easier. But that's 3 weeks ago, Brady Bergie's in the South Dakota State room, coaching Jackrabbits. So that's another one where obviously Penn State needs him to score points. And, Marinelli did not last year, hasn't really ever been great or good even at the national tournament. So, and that's a really good weight class.
Mm-hmm.
And it could come down to matchups, right? Who runs into who? If Marinelli runs into a Griffith or one of these other, maybe guys that wrestle him really well, or even Karchula from Ohio State who beat him. So
right.
And then Bergie looked really good against Michigan. Didn't look good against Marinelli, but that's I don't know who. That's one of those Marinellis. The one version of Marinelli it may have beat anybody that night.
Right. No doubt.
He's really good in Carver.
Then I'm thinking Kemmer and Strachey.
Kemmer and Strachey was a great match. I mean, I can't imagine a match that was 0-0 at the end of one period that had more activity, right? I mean, it was really, there's a lot of 0-0s at the end of one period where you just, you'd like just as soon turn the channel. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic wrestling all along. It's crazy how good both guys' defense is.
Yes.
I mean, we're people, either guy was in multiple times in spots that looked like it. They should have scored on. They score on anybody else. I think obviously Kemmer's hampered with a shoulder. I think I don't know what the injury is. I'm guessing it's a labrum issue. So it's hard to take good shots. That you have no strength. You have to finish fast, right? You got to finish. You're not going to get underneath and be able to pull legs in. And, but when he can do it, he's done it to some people, right? And it's not like arm strength at that point. It's knee slide, getting your hips underneath and, using leverage when you get there. But,
it's amazing when you find those riders in college that can, hold people to the mat and get the riding time, because these guys are hard to hold down.
Absolutely. It's getting tougher. I really think it's, everybody, there's always that question. Well, should we get rid of riding time, or, sometimes riding gets to be boring. But one thing I would say is I think it's getting tougher and tougher to ride. I think guys are getting, we watch freshmen come out, that's one thing, but, Kemmer's a 7th-year senior, and Strachey's world class, and but yeah, it is very, very interesting.
And then Brooks wrestling Assad. I tell you what, I was impressed. Iowa wrestled well there against Brooks.
Yeah, I hear Brooks is so calm. I mean, and I think I did see an interview with him on the Big Ten Big Ten show on Monday, and I don't once again, I think that Brooks is in the most hostile environment, most adverse environment he's going to have when he wrestles Abe Assad, and that to me should have been a major. I mean,
well, the Big Ten.
I think
the Big Ten there is tough. Amin is in there. Who else is brought? Got a few more. Romero. Got to think who else is in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Romero's good. The Rutgers guy is good. But there's some really good guys outside of the Big Ten. You got Hidley from North Carolina State is a beast. So yeah, it'll be it'll be a great national tournament. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, trying to think of a couple left. Well, we got to talk. Of course, we talked to Dean already, so let's go straight to the heavyweight.
Yeah, I thought Cassiope looked awesome. Now, I will say I thought that Kirkley had made a couple, brutal errors. Right, I don't think he'd go upper body with, and he's not necessarily an upper body guy to start with, Kirk. But he comes out, gets an easy takedown, and then ends up in a over under trying to throw, Cassiope, which is size wise is not as big of an issue as it was when he was 270 instead of 240, but. Yeah, that's just a bad idea. I'm not
when he locked it up. I'm going, oh, this could go flying. I thought that's going to happen.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah,
and that I don't think he makes that mistake again, right? I think Coach Kale might get him in the corner, and say, hey, let's not do that. Let's just go back to leg attacks. You scored easy there. So, what that will do, at the Big Ten tournament is going to be pretty interesting. It's going to put Gable at 1, of course, probably put Cassiope at 2, Kirk at 3, and Mason Paris at 4. So, that's and then in turn, what's going to happen is obviously those guys all have losses. So, the Arizona State heavyweight, why am I drawing a blank there? But pardon me.
Is it Hall?
Schultz. Yep. And he's going to come in undefeated. Nobody's touching him in the Pac-12 or whatever. Yeah, Pac-12. So, so he's going to be 2. It'll be him, Gable 1 and he'll be 2, so that's going to put probably Kirk and
4 and 5.
Kirk and Cass at 3, at 3. And then, whoever gets a win there, right. I could change it. At Big Tens, but one of those guys is going to be 3, and then the other 2 are going to be 4 and 5. Have to battle it out to see who gets Gable. So so that match it could have been different. It could have been if Kirk comes out on top of that. That really changes that because he beats Paris, handily the week before. So it really had a lot of national and year-end implications, but they're probably gonna settle it a little bit in Lincoln here in a couple weeks, or a month, I guess, or whatever. Right. But I don't know if you caught the Minnesota-Michigan duel.
We started to talk about that just at the beginning before you got on.
Yeah. I've obviously watched it, and I'm sure you guys have too. Watched every one of Gable's matches this year, and he's looked really good, right? I mean, really technical. Looks like he's drilling. Taking guys down, good guys, scoring 20 points a match. But we haven't seen a lot of this, smashing your head into the mat and physically beating you up that we did see from him a couple of years ago. It's been, a lot more technique, right? He remembers Mason Paris, going on Twitter and Instagram a couple of years ago and saying, hey, you can run, but you can't hide forever. That came out, right? You could see he was not. That was a beating. That was Papa Bear saying, "I'm still the king of this jungle. Don't even think about it." So he looked pretty tough. And then the rest of that mat duel there was Siriano looked really, really good against McKee. Looked way better against McKee than he did against Hildebrandt the week before. I don't know the reason for that. You don't know if it's a, you don't know, weight cut issue or, one time but he looked really good against McKee, and McKee obviously took 3rd in the country last year. But probably the match of the duel there, right, is Minnesota winning at 41 over Michik.
Berkler. Yeah, he looked good.
He looked really good. I was sitting in Aberdeen watching that. I was sitting in the parking lot of the Barnett Center and watching that before I went into the duel there. And yeah, he looked really good. I mean, he just did everything right. I mean, he looked good. So, and he's had moments, where he's looked good throughout the year. And I think, but that's a really good win over Michik. And I'm not sure if Michik is what the situation is. He's talking about Gable, obviously, still 100% bonus, and I think he's really got to focus on scoring bonus points. He obviously wants to win the Hodge again, and
right.
So,
well, this is the first time I got to see Nick Soriano really wrestle. This year I didn't get to see his other match, and I thought he opened it up a little bit.
He did.
I thought it was better not trying to stay just in control of the match.
Yep.
And so I was impressed there. I thought that he's back on. Maybe 25 is not an easy weight class, but I see him as being a contender. He took care of me.
He's ranked number 1 in the country, yep. and he is he'll be the. Well, I mean, I don't see anybody in the Big Ten touching him. The big competition there is going to be Glory from Princeton and Araju from Cornell. That's probably it, right? Okay. So he'll come out as the 1 seed, I'm sure. Raju either Glory or Raju are going to have a loss because they're going to have to wrestle each other. So they'll be 2 and 3, and I really. I don't know. I really liked the way Soriano looked last week, but I'd probably pick Glory or Raju over him. But okay. That doesn't. They're all going to be good. I mean, they're all good there, all 3 of them. So
I'm trying to think of any other matches in that duel that I remember real well. The mean match, he dominated.
Yep.
Massa, he kind of dominated. No,
yep.
That ended up being 7-4, but I thought he wrestled pretty well.
Yeah, he looked good. He's good.
I pay close attention. I have Michigan on my Twitter all the time, and I'm, because of the Tanafus and everything else,
right?
And I don't know how they step into this lineup. They're young at Michigan in those weight classes. If they get a 25 and
they were young. They were young, and then then you get a bunch of those guys have to sit behind Soriano when he transfers in.
Right.
That makes it tougher. Yeah, I don't know either. I think they will struggle unless, it doesn't, but they're going to keep recruiting too, right? I mean, it's not, they're not done. I mean, they'll bring in more 25 and 33 pounders, with no problem. It doesn't bother, but what a great experience. One of the best colleges in the country, as well as, that coaching staff. You got Kevin Jackson, as a 4th assistant. I mean, these are guys that have just decades of experience. So it's really a great spot for those guys to be. And I think, what we're going to see out of them is they're going to come out of there as Olympians. So,
right.
That's pretty fun. I want to see them in the lineup, and they've gotten a lot of matches. I've gotten to see a number of them online throughout the year. So they're going to keep developing, and you can remember how really, we know how dominant they were, but they still have a lot of growth. I mean, those guys have not been, we're talking 4 or 5 years of wrestling. So
that's right.
I mean, Coach Andal's got half his team is younger than they were when they started. So yeah, that's the truth.
So what are some big duels coming up this week?
Okay, let's see. We must have
Wisconsin, Iowa.
That's the duel I'm actually really, really interested in. Obviously we get to see Kyle wrestle against DeSanto. So that'll be they have done that before, and it hasn't been great for Kyle, but he's, he'll stay in there and fight. But the match of the duel for me is at 165. Dean Hamidi from Wisconsin is, I don't know however many matches he's had in right? He's 16-0 or 21-0 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he may lead the country in pins. He's really, really exciting. He's fun to watch. He scores a lot of points. He can cradle you from anywhere. And that will be very, very interesting to me to see how that goes. He's the, last year I picked Keegan O'Toole to win it, at the national tournament. Well, he's this year's Keegan O'Toole to me. I mean, he's must watch TV. He is fun to watch. So that's when we talk about that duel, that's the match of the duel for me.
Well,
I really look forward to it.
I'm hoping we get the Wisconsin that was not the team that wrestled against Nebraska, because that was the one duel I honestly thought that, Wisconsin should have been in that thing a little better. Nebraska looked really good there.
Yeah, they've been up and down and have looked really good, and they've looked, not so good. So both teams, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be. Obviously, I think it's Iowa's duel to win, but I do look forward to some of those matches for sure.
Okay. Well, did you look at the results of the East-West? Let's circle the high school just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have them in front of me, but obviously Lisbon came out on top. Hettinger and New Salem both looked really good.
South Border took second.
South Border looked good. So those are your top 4 teams there, and your top 4 teams in the state, I would say. Carrington rounded out with 5th place. I thought there was not a lot of real surprises. I guess Trace Hogarth taking first at 113 pounds for Carrington was good. He comes out on top of the Killdeer Kid, which it was a 1-2 matchup, I guess there. The other one I can say at 126 pounds is Matthew Dukeshire. Took second, but he was seeded third, so he had a nice win in the semis and actually had a good match in the finals. That was a good match. Was it 3-0, 3-1, something like that? I mean, it was a good match. So besides that, I can't remember a whole lot of matches that were a big surprise to me.
Right.
Great tournament though, always, fun to follow. I got to see, I didn't go out there, but it was, again, I did get to see a lot of matches.
Okay. Then did you watch Minot? That's the other one. Did you get to catch not Minot, but did you go to Minot for the duel?
I did not. They wrestled on Friday night. I was in Aberdeen. And then Saturday was Mankato at Mary, and I did not go out. I was planning to. The roads looked pretty hairy, so I turned around and came back and watched it online. But Mary looked great. Mary looked really good. They had a good afternoon, and I think Coach Aho's kind of got them rolling, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens. We're going to be in a regional tournament here, in a month, the end of the month, I guess, right? Probably. Right. Looking at the dates, but I'm guessing it's in February. So they looked good. Parkside looked really good against Northern State. You probably had a few. Actually, Parkside looked really good against Moorhead State also. And Parkside has won 4 duels in a row. Coach Becker hadn't won a duel yet. I mean, it's his first year, right? But or maybe this is second year. But yeah, so he's got them rolling. They look pretty tough. They've got a couple of guys ranked in the top 12, and they look good. Not making any excuses. Northern, they did have a couple of guys out. I don't know that makes a difference in that duel. Some of their lineup is changed, for the entire year. So, they're going to have to, Wyatt Turnquist looks great. Wrestling really good. Winner South Dakota kid. A couple other South Dakota kids that are in the lineup have looked pretty good. Fisher's wrestling tough. He wrestled the number 3. I don't know. Depends on what ranking, I guess, somewhere between 2 and 3 ranked kid in the country, and wrestled them really tough. So, yeah, it was good. Good weekend of some hard wrestling, and heavyweight at Northern State looked really good against Parkside. Then the Parkside kid came out and beat Sam Grove, who I thought was, originally he's a Moorhead kid originally from Moorhead, wrestled at South Dakota State for a couple of years, is back at wrestling for the Dragons, and so yeah, it was good. Some good wrestling. Watched a lot of wrestling obviously this weekend. Now we're going to roll into regional duels, I guess, for Class B here in North Dakota.
Yep.
How's your state tournament set up this year for the duels and individual?
individuals Thursday, Friday, and duels all day Saturday.
Oh, we just went to it. That's what we're doing this year.
Yeah, this is the first, second year they did this, right? They did it last year kind of because of COVID. And
they stuck with it.
So,
yeah.
and I think people liked it, from what I've heard. So I think we'll see how it goes this year when you have full crowds. And what if people still feel the same way, but I think they liked it last year. So yeah, that's what it'll be this year.
Yeah, it's our first year with it on Saturday, so we're looking forward to it. See what
see what the difference is. I know. My concern has always been if you did that, which I'm not the one on the mat, right? I was, been in the corner some for them, but that Friday night with the individual semis and the dual finals, to me was always the greatest round in wrestling, right? But it was tough when a guy has to come off of losing a semifinal match and then go back and wrestle a duel 30 minutes later. It was tough, and sometimes you're also the same guy both matches. So I know there's been some call for making a change like this, but the place is packed on Friday night always. So I hope we still get good crowds on Saturday, right?
I know.
It didn't make any difference last year because you could only have so many people there, anyway. But I think it'll be good. There'll be a lot of good duels. It'll be exciting.
That's the fear in South Dakota, whether they keep everybody or not.
Right.
It's kind of like I told my coaching staff is we've been in the duels. We brought the duels back 2 years ago. We've been blessed. We were in the last 2 years. We will see if we're in this year. But regardless, we'll be there till the end on the individual on Friday night. We're 40 miles away, but we stay Friday night anyway. I'm pretty much we're gonna go watch.
Right. Yeah.
One more day of wrestling, and after that, you have your freedom. So.
Yeah.
Well, I hope more coaches take that and run with it and say, guess what? We're not in the duel, but guess what? We want to be there. So let's watch this.
Yeah. You want your kids to watch and get that hunger to, be there.
Right. Yeah. 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 I hope you guys make it. And if you don't, it'll be huge for all those young guys to watch it. Right. And see what it's like to be there. And so I think that would be, that's always been my biggest concern, but I hope it'll be good. Class B teams travel pretty good. And hopefully they stick around. So
Class A teams do not, though.
Correct. But
it's a 10-to-1 fan ratio. Class B, Class A. I don't doubt it. 10-to-1 difference. Right. You get a small town that has 5 guys make the state tournament, you might have 50 people in the stands for them. Yeah. And Class A, if you brought 5 kids, they got their parents there. That's it. It's a huge. Yeah. And so it's a huge difference. No, I'm looking forward to it. Bill, we're right around the corner here. We get done a week before South Dakota does. And we just have to stay focused. We've had some crazy, bus travel and weather the last few weeks and lots of ice everywhere. Hopefully everybody, stays safe throughout the rest of the season. I would hate for something to happen somewhere. I know that there's some big duels coming up this weekend in Class A to determine who goes to the duels in Class A. Bismarck and Dickinson have got wrapped up. We got 2 more teams to come in yet. And that's looks like it's pretty much between 3 teams, between Williston, Bismarck Century, and Minot. 3 teams to make the last 2. And so Century, if they win out, if Minot wins out, it'll probably be then. It would be, let's think this out. It would be Bismarck High 1. Century won't win out, but they have Bismarck High tomorrow night, but they've got to win their other duels besides that one. You'll still have Bismarck High 1. You'd probably have Minot 2, Dickinson 3, and Century 4.
So who does Century have this week besides?
Well, we got Bismarck High tomorrow night, and then they have Williston and Watford City on Saturday morning.
Watford City on Saturday. Okay.
Yep. And Williston's got a decent team. It's all the matchups. Century's got their 6-pounder's been banged up for almost 2 weeks. We have a backup 7th grader that's doing fine, but it's amazing when you have just a little bit more of those younger weights. You have a freshman that was, probably about 18 and 8, and then we bring in a freshman or a 7th grader who had, no experience.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Right.
And he's still banged up. He's got a hurt knee. We also have a 52-pounder that hurt his shoulder last week. You don't know if he separated his shoulder or something. He's been kind of gingery on it this week. So we'll see what happens there. We have a 195-pounder who has a bursa issue in his knee. He hurt his knee a little bit. See what Century does there. We've got backups in all those spots, but it's just not the same. And so, I can't give up all the secrets that I know what's happening, but most teams, they have injuries too. I'm crossed my fingers. We have not had this big COVID breakout in North Dakota anywhere. Early in the season, there was a couple here and there we heard of, but it hasn't been crazy bad. COVID hasn't. I'm hoping it stays that way. And injuries, people moving around. There's still in North Dakota. Here's what's interesting, Scott. In our state, you don't have to have half your matches at your lowest weight.
Really?
They could show up at region time at the lowest weight.
Man.
And so it messes a ton of things up. They wait to see seeds. West region, there's about 2-3 weight classes, which there's going to be some people staying at home. And that doesn't happen in Class A wrestling usually because there's some good kids in the West, not in the East compared to the West. The West have got, one of the weight classes I'm thinking about, I think out of the top 8, 7 out of the top 8 are in the same region.
Yeah.
And so it could be if you fall in the wrong spot in the bracket, you're going to have to beat somebody else and one of those guys that are ranked are not going to make the state. And so it's always tough. And you just got to have your guys prepared and ready to go to wrestle. Well, we've about hit that hour time. Anything new happening in South Dakota that you know, Scott?
No, just everybody's getting ready to wrap up. I haven't really heard of, we talked about injuries and stuff. I haven't heard about any major, like I told you guys earlier, we have 3 out right now. Everybody's got people out banged up, but I haven't no season ending, no big studs. Any big studs and stuff for us, they were wiped out, football injuries, something like that, right away. So I'm hoping that's the way it can stay. It's not many years that somebody doesn't
something
lose
happens.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So if we can get through that and actually have all the top dogs, it's going to be exciting finish at the end. And you talk about regions and stuff. It's just the South Dakota the same way. We just get certain regions that are tougher, but it's the way it is. We got a couple weight classes. Will be the same way. I mean, there'll be 1, 2. Could be state place winners are probably not making it this year.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go to other weight classes and, I might be one of them. I might have a kid this year, maybe, or like I've had before. It's not a gift. Just they show up and they get through because there's that one spot open for somebody.
Right.
Yep.
And, that's what we kind of strive for. My kids that are on the outside looking in, I just tell them that right now, knock on wood, somebody's got to step up. So if you want to, you as well as be you instead of some kid from another team. So
Yep.
No doubt. Well, good. Bill, any last words for tonight? I got to cut it myself. I'm hurting.
Oh yeah. Right.
Well,
Wow.
I actually am pretty good. But
John's playing hurt tonight, so that's
Yeah,
tough. He's
yeah.
going to tough through it here. It's a tough sport, this broadcasting.
yeah, I won't be showing any more moves this year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't have much more. I guess I'm kind of getting excited. We're starting to get into the, some of these little kids wrestling and back in the room there, and that's been kind of fun, and it kind of puts a little spring in your step. So we're starting to see some of those kids compete, and so I'm excited to kind of get through the rest of these 2 high school and college seasons and off onto a youth season, and I just kind of like it to warm up. That's all.
No more ice. I agree.
Well, I'm in God's country, I guess, because no snow. It's going to be 50 on Saturday again. Right now it's like 4 above, but it's it's a weird winter down here in southeast South Dakota.
Well, it's 15 below here, and that's the high for probably the next 36 hours. So
oh God.
So that's what we're dealing with, and it rained on Monday. right? So
yeah, what the?
yeah,
You know,
it was 40 degrees and rain, and so yeah, it's a handy spot to be right now.
I used to go to Devil's Lake for military, and a buddy of mine sent me a picture at Lakota, and it's all ice, and I go,
Yeah.
what the hell? Yeah, we got rain on top of all the snow. I'm like,
Yep.
oh my god.
Yeah, we got rain, and then the wind picked up to about 30 to 60 miles an hour, and the temperature dropped. So
Yeah,
that was handy. So yeah, but then hey, the good news is that's not going to last forever.
yeah,
You know, we can get through here the next couple weeks of weather, and we'll be in Fargo at the Fargo Dome, and it'll be fun.
Yep. Well, my last thing is I'm going to shout out to the Matt Pack team. Matt Pack has got their open house for their new facility. They've had stuff online. It's phenomenal. I mean, they've state of the art. They've got some money. They've decided to spend it on wrestling. They've got a building. They've got mats. They've got locker rooms. They've got so many other things that are there. So I want to give them a thumbs up for all they've done doing for wrestling for Bismarck. So
absolutely. Yep. Great job.
Okay. Well, you guys, thank you again for coming on. You guys have a great evening. Dakota Grappler, promote wrestling, guys. We're coming down to the end of this high school wrestling season, but we got a lot left. A lot of college, you name it, always through the spring kids wrestling. Enjoy. Guys, have a great night.